Hi, in this video we're going to talk about unpacking keywords and why it's so important and a little bit of how you do it in a mind map. This is a cardboard box as my central image being opened and unpacked. Keywords are equal to treasure. They are like bars of gold or pieces of gold as you find them, nuggets of gold that you can turn into something really precious. So that's why I've done this gold bar here. I want you to imagine that you are in your house waiting for a delivery. Keywords are like getting a delivery from a teacher. You're doing a project, you've got like a workshop, and you're waiting for a delivery of goods, parts that you're going to need to work on it, and your teacher is like someone who's going to deliver this package to you. It's kind of like waiting for an Amazon parcel. You're waiting there, there's your gate, and a delivery driver comes along to your door with the parcel, and you get to take delivery of the parcel and use it. But there are two ways you can take this information. Imagine the delivery driver is your teacher. You can get the information and store it, or you can unpack it. Now, storing it is like written notes, and unpacking it is like mind mapping. It takes a little bit more work with mind mapping because you've got to unpack the information, but it's worth it. So imagine you've got your room and you're standing there, you've got your desk ready and your shelves ready for all the finished results, and you're standing there. The teacher comes along and says, "You ready for this?" The delivery driver, and you are yes, and you pick up one box and then you wait for the next one to come. You pick up another one and you stack them all up, and it takes a wee while to pick it all up, but you've got all of the delivery. And that's the standard way of dealing with information. Or you could unpack that information. It's kind of like the standard way is you warehouse it. You gather it all and you put it in a warehouse until you actually need it. Maybe when you're revising or for exams or something like that. That's the time you really unpack it if you're going to do an assignment. But imagine you were in a different scenario. When you get that delivery, you've got this other scenario where when the delivery driver comes to the door, you say, "Oh, could you carry it round to my workshop round here?" And the delivery driver's like, "Fine, yes." They go away, get a parcel, bring it to your workshop. And you're at the workshop and you're at the ready to open up the box and check what's inside. You've maybe got a pair of scissors to cut open the box and get it ready. And there you are, you've got your box. While the delivery driver is going off to get the next box, you quickly open the box, check what's inside, and if you can, you take the outside packaging and you ditch it. And you just keep the inside packaging with a bit of the wrapping and things like that. So what I've done here is I'm drawing the bits of cardboard that you've ripped off and put to the side, and then you take that cardboard and put it into some recycling bucket later on. The important thing is you've unpacked the most important part of the information. 90% of what is all the extra words and all the extra packaging is just to make sure that information gets to you safely. So 90% of our language is packaging to deliver the keywords. For example, in this video, typical videos, I spend about 1,700 words speaking a 5-minute video, and that maps down to 150 keywords. But you needed those 1,700 words to understand my 150 keywords. So the goal is to keep all the important information. And keywords are those things that point to all the important information. So let's take, for example, the first mind map you do, the sketch map, unpacks the boxes, the outer packaging, the outer words. And then your second map unpackages the packaging and the wrapping. So you maybe get rid of a few more words in your second mind map or your second version of your mind map. And so each time you mind map, you're sort of taking more of the packaging away and getting more to the point. So you've got the mind mapping version and you've got the written notes version of approaching delivery. I'm just going to take a pause just now and ask you to think. You know, when you're standing there at the door and you're getting a really big delivery from Amazon or something, I don't know if you've ever experienced it, but during those pauses when the delivery driver goes to go and get something and then comes back, often you just stand there and wait. And that's sometimes the case when you're listening to information from a teacher or a lecture or watching something. You're standing there and waiting for them to deliver the next nugget of information. They might be using a bit of a story or an example or something like that, and that's great. It's a bit of packaging, but you're looking for the next nugget. Well, instead of just standing there at the door and waiting, you can use that time to do some of the work you have to do later on. You can do it while you're standing there waiting. You can use your knife to open the box and unpack. I hope you get that. And that's part of the passion of dyslexics and mind mapping, is to make the most of the time and the thoughts that you've got. Sort of do two things at once that you know you're going to end up having to do anyway, which is to summarize your information. You might as well do it there and then while you're taking your first set of notes. May not be perfect. It's not meant to be perfect, but it's unpacked. Let's carry on with the mind map. So here, for example, I'm kind of trying to show you the difference between mind mapping is like creating a workshop, whereas written notes is like creating a warehouse. You have a warehouse of overwhelming information. So let's look a little bit at language. Language is packaging. It's meant to deliver something. And you can choose when you hear something to store that, all the language, record it, or you can unpack it to the key words. And that's what mind mapping is about. But you need to remember, if you're going to unpack something, it does take a little bit more effort, a little bit more planning and preparation. So for example, you might need some scissors. You might need to get your workshop in order, your space in order, give it space. You'll need to have paper and pen to hand and to make a map. So it takes a little bit more initial effort, but the payoff is massive. Let's look at how to handle the overwhelm of information. There's always a point every student hits where they get overwhelmed with information. It might be when you're doing your hires, or first year of university, or third year. For me, it was definitely third year. I just cracked and I had to find a better way. Here's the typical scenario. Week one, you're all happy, you're getting information, you start piling up storing up the information, and then you get to week 4, and then things start to change a little bit. You're starting to not feel so great about things. Things are starting to pile up. For some people, that could be week 6 to 8 or 10, but there's always a point where it's too much, and your warehouse is full, and things are falling over, and you're not quite sure what you're going to do. You know that eventually it'll all pull together, hopefully, but the answer is to unpack it as soon as possible, because you realize how powerful it is. Here you are, week by week, unpacking it onto the shelves. So there's smaller packages on the shelves, and they're ordered week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and it's not all muddled. That's what you're doing when you're mind mapping. And it creates space in your mind. You can think when you've got the mind map. You know everything's ordered in the place, compared to I'm stressed with overload of information. So I hope this has helped you understand a little bit of the value of keywords in mind mapping. It often people get distracted by the branches and the colors and the pictures, and they're all useful, but keywords are key. In this video, I've shown you the importance of unpacking keywords. But just because you know the importance doesn't mean you completely know how to do it, okay? So in the other videos, I'm going to show you how to unpack these keywords. And unpacking keywords is a skill, it's a craft. And it doesn't happen just in one big step, okay? You don't go from a big body of information and then zip it down into 150 keywords in one step. It takes a process, and I want you to realize that it's a process, that it takes time, it does take effort, but if you do it with mind mapping, you go through that process faster. You get to the point where you've got a flashcard or a flash map faster. So that's what I'm going to be showing you. It takes steps. And I want you to imagine this picture of getting a big box and you get rid of all the packaging, but you do it in stages. You've got that cardboard box and you get rid of that. But there's still the bubble wrap and there's still, other stuff around it. So you've got the item and it's smaller and more manageable, but you've still got to unwrap it again. So that's why we've got the sketch map. That's why we've got the standard map. And that's why we've got the memory map. And you don't get there in one jump, okay? And a lot of people are tempted with the mind map to say, oh, why didn't I get all the key words in the right place at the right time in one jump? You just don't do that. That's not what life is like. You have to go through a process. So I'm going to help you with that process, okay? So in the next video, we'll break down that process a little bit more.